of a cobbler called Vallabha Das to Shankar Bhat. Om Sai Ram. After the cobbler finished his singing, he came to me. The compassion was overflowing from his eyes. His eyes were expressing his experiences. A doubt crept in my mind whether he was some yogi. He turned to me and said, "Sir, my name is Vallabha Das. I am an artisan working with the hides of animals. I was born in a low caste. There is no doubt about it. Nevertheless, I want to tell you some information. I already knew that your name is Shankar Bhat and that you are travelling to visit Srivallabha. Not only that, I also know why you were harassed by the crows and snakes on your way." I was astonished. I thought that he probably studied astrology and acquired some proficiency in the subject. Vallabha Das said immediately, "Sir, I am not an astrologer. Sri Kshetrapuram is a birthplace of great scholars. It is the holy place where Sangha Vedardha Samarth Pandit Maladi Bapanna Vadhani actually lived. The Vedas became tired in the process of attempting to describe the Supreme Being. They could not pinpoint the phenomenon correctly and simply ruled out everything by saying, "This is not, this is not." Such is the nature of the Supreme Being. Pithapuram is the sacred place where that supreme phenomenon took birth as Sripada Srivallabha. Dry philosophy and meaningless debates cannot earn the grace of Sripad Srivallabha. There is no need for scholarly excellence to obtain the mercy of Sripada. On the other hand, fake pride will throw us far away from him. The crows that pecked at you were great pandits who lived in Pithapuram during their previous lives. They could not recognize the divine nature of Sri Vallabha and they could not realize him as Lord Datta. Thus, they wasted their whole lives. They could recite Vedas upside down, but what is the use? They were repeating words like karma, Ghana, Jata, Swadhya, and were exhibiting their arrogance. After death, they went to heaven. Indra praised them. He showered praise on them by saying, "Oh, you are that proud, egoistic and arrogant fellow. Oh, you are an expert in arguing. What a fortune! How many hundreds and thousands of times you have recited Veda. What a merit, what a merit. Only because of that merit, you could step into heaven." All the denizens of Indralok admired them sky high. However, these pandits suffered the pangs of hunger. Divine ambrosia was available in heaven. They heard that one is freed from hunger and thirst by drinking it. They submitted their problem directly to Indra, as none paid any heed to them. To that Indra replied, "Veda is the form of the Lord's inhalation and exhalation. The Lord is infinite and deathless. Therefore, Vedas are also infinite, and Vedas are the basis for all dharmas. By chanting Vedas, you have praised the Lord. As a reward for it, we, the celestials, are also praising you highly. Otherwise, is it possible for you to get praises from me? If one desires food, he must provide food to others. If one donates a grain, we, the celestials, enhance it to thousands of grains and return them to the donor as a reward. When you have not donated anything, how can we help? Because of your Vedic recitation, you derived immense benefit. Therefore, you can reside freely in Indralok as long as it exists. Afterwards, you can go to another world. In this way, you can remain eternally free." Those who heard the words of Indra faced a difficult situation. It occurred to them that living eternally without food and suffering prolonged hunger and thirst. It was indeed an unbearable punishment. Indra said again, "You lived in the holy Padgaya Kshetra, but you performed annual ceremonies to the souls of your ancestors without care and concern. You were always calculating the expenditure incurred for such functions. You were also absorbed in the thought that you were eating delicious food items, but you were devoid of the care and devotion required for the performance of those solemn ceremonies. As a result, your forefathers did not attain noble positions after their death. Your children are also behaving like that. Your children also were not happy that you lived too long, and a large amount of money was wasted on medical facilities provided to you. They even wondered, oh, how much food was wasted. Sriman Narayan himself incarnated as Srivallabha in the midst of you. When he was showing the way for salvation, you abused him. You indulged in fruitless and counter arguments. Even though all the auspicious traits like omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence, and qualities of an incarnation were clearly visible, you became blind people who could not recognize Srivallabha as an avatar of Lord Sri Datta. It is ordained that you remain as crows in the form of the souls of your ancestors till you drink the blood of a person whose body was purified by the chanting of the sacred name of Srivallabha. Sri Vallabha Das said, Shankar Bhat, it was for that reason that they were born as crows, and on account of their previous merit, they drank your blood and obtained noble status. Then I noticed that Vallabha Das was not an ordinary person, and that the grace of Sri Vallabha was completely on him. Sri Vallabha Das added, Sir, the serpents who were attracted by the scent emanating from your body attained salvation. I said, Sir, great Vallabha Das, why should this incident take place? If my body were to be used as a food for crows, serpents, and other living creatures, it would be a harrowing experience for me. I am under constant fear of being attacked by any creature at any time. Sri Vallabha Das said, Sir, this is all a sportive play of Sri Vallabha. Don't have such fear. Such accidents would not take place in future. Only the one who gives life will have the authority to take out the life. Therefore, such authority is not vested in anyone except God. However, some of your ancestors worshipped Goddess Kali on the burial ground. With the help of the mantra used, they killed many persons whom they disliked. They earned great sin because they were responsible for the unnatural deaths of those people. Due to that sin, they took birth as snakes, but as you were also born in their family, you were all blood relatives. Moreover, you obtained the mercy of Sri Vallabha. Because of the small merit, the incident took place and they got salvation. A Brahmin should be a seeker of truth. A Kshatriya should be bound by dharma. A Vaishya should attend to cultivation, protection of cattle, and be skilled in the sale and purchase activities. Therefore, he should be a calm person. A Shudra should be a loving one and render services. Even then, there is no distinction between caste, creed, rich and poor for the grant of divine grace. A Brahmin can follow the duty of Kshatriya and can become a king. When a Kshatriya desires knowledge of Brahman, he can adopt the duty of a Brahmin. Had not Kusuma Shreshti, who was a Vaishya, chosen Kshatriya dharma and became a ruler? According to Brahmanic dharma, killing an enemy is sinful, but in Kshatriya dharma it is a prescribed duty. You are a Brahmin and a seeker of truth. Therefore, non-violence is a supreme duty for you, but not for a butcher. So, if a man wants to get proper results from his actions, he should perform the duties according to the dharma adopted by him, irrespective of the caste to which he belongs. As you are at present ill, it is desirable and necessary that you should be with a doctor. That is why you were brought to me. Please note that Srivallabha will observe us every moment. In your childhood, you were reciting the prayers about Lord Vishnu. You were playing with your friends in a funny manner. It is indeed a prayer for Lord Ganesha, for the words in the shloka, Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashantaye. You were giving a perverted interpretation for the sake of fun. You were giving following meanings. In this way, you were jokingly giving a perverse meaning to the holy prayer and extended its meaning as a prayer applicable to a donkey. Shankar Bhatt, Lord Datta is a skilled one. The Lord in his presence would also rectify the mistakes made by you for the fun. The washerman brought you to me on a donkey. At that time you were covered with dust and bore an ash color. You came here with halting pace, and sometimes you walked on all your 2 hands and 2 legs, supporting yourself on your hands placed on the ground. Even though you came to the Audambra tree on all your 2 legs and 2 hands, gasping for breath, you could not avoid the accident. Your hope of escaping from the serpents failed. You had a placid countenance if you did not convulse with pain. At last you were brought to the village of cobblers. In subjecting you to so many miseries, Sripad provided entertainment and taught you a lesson. Those tanners were freed from their ignoble births. You were teaching the prayer shlok of Sri Vishnu to your friends in a jocular manner. That is the reason why you have come to a position where you have to hear the teaching of a low caste person like me. Now you are here. Tomorrow you may stay in the house of your own caste people. If you disclose this incident even by mistake, they will throw you out. With the good teaching of Sri Vallabha Das, the Brahmanic arrogance in me decreased. The feeling that Vallabha Das was a low caste person disappeared. I had brotherly love for him as if he was my blood relative. I accepted the hospitality of Vallabha Das for 2 or 3 days and left the village afterwards. What can I describe about the mercy of Sripad Sri Vallabha? I was involved in very strange circumstances in a town called Vichitrapuram and came out in a strange way. When I was going on foot from Vichitrapuram, some royal servants approached me with humble obedience and inquired whether I was a Vaishnava or a Shaiva. I told them that we were Samarthas who observe no distinction between Shiva and Keshava, but we show some inclination towards Shaivism, and that the Guru of the southern monastery, Sri Sringeri Shankaracharya, was our preceptor. They requested me to visit their king. I went with them for the royal audience. On the way, I understood some peculiar matters. That king was inviting any Brahmin who was seen on that day and was questioning, if this much is for that much, how much will be for this much? No one could give a satisfactory answer to that question. That king conducted a sacrifice some years ago to get a male child. Fortunately, he got a son. However, from that day, Brahmins faced peculiar troubles as the son born to the king became a dumb. The king was of the opinion that because of the defective sacrifice performed by the Brahmins, his son became dumb. Therefore, the king got the heads of Shaivat Brahmins completely shaved, marked their faces with the paint of vertical Vaishnavite lines, and paraded them on the back of the donkeys. Likewise, he got the heads of Vaishnavite Brahmins cleanly shaved, marked their face with horizontal lines made of holy ash, and paraded them seated on the back of the donkeys. This situation became unbearable to both Shaivas and Vaishnavas. The king suddenly began to behave in a peculiar fashion. He was donating amaranth leaves liberally to the Brahmins. He ordered that amaranth leaves should be cultivated in a large area of the cultivable land. He was collecting half of the taxes in the form of amaranth leaves. Cartloads of amaranth leaves were collected and kept in the fort. Amaranth leaves was donated in very large quantities, and Brahmins could not consume it fully. The cooking of rice and the eating of other victuals was forbidden for the Brahmins. After eating cooked amaranth leaves in the main meals, they had to eat cooked or uncooked amaranth leaves as a snack. What can the poor Brahmins do? All the Brahmins who took great pride as scholars in logic, scholars in philosophy, and scholars in Puranas shed their arrogance and were praying to God silently and pitiably to redress their plight. There was a devotee of Datta who was an ardent follower of Datta sector among the Brahmins. He said that Lord Dattatreya becomes merciful at mere remembrance, and that only the Lord can remove their miserable condition. Therefore, all the Brahmins observed Mandala Diksha and started worshipping Lord Dattatreya. As his son was dumb, the king wanted to encourage the sign language for the dumb. He instructed the Rajguru to write a book on the sign language for the dumb. That preceptor of the royal court was formerly very haughty. He was in a very miserable state and undertook extensive research in the sign language. Om Sai Ram.